What's up, guys? MVP Reviews back here today, and today I'm going to be doing my spoilers review for the DC Cinematic Universe movie Wonder Woman. I got my posters, one poster and then two posters stacked on top of each other behind me there. So let's get into it. This is going to be a spoilers review, so if you've not seen the movie Wonder Woman, do not watch any more of this review, because I will be talking about spoilers, going over the movie. I have seen the movie 3 times now. That might be more than anyone else in America, but it's close. So, don't watch this if you have not seen Wonder Woman. I do have a regular review up. If you want to watch that, go ahead. It's on my channel. But you have been forewarned. Spoilers ahead. Okay, now that that's out of the way, this movie is really freaking good. I mean, it's just a good movie. We'll start with some of the reasons why it's good. The screenplay, for one, is fantastic. Whoever I forget who wrote this. The stories by Zack Snyder, which I found is kind of interesting. I don't think he actually wrote the screenplay, but I think the overall story he helped with. So I found that interesting. I found that out in the opening credits. But so screenplay is very strong, very witty. So some of the character portrayal, some of the acting brings it to life. So that's really nice. But overall, the screenplay is tight. It is well done, and it's just a good screenplay. So every good movie starts a good screenplay. So that helped this one a lot as well. Following screenplay, I'm going to go into some acting. Oh, sorry, not acting. Some of the direction. And the direction of this movie is, again, fantastic. Patty Jenkins did a fantastic job directing this movie. From her way that she brought out the character portrayals, the actors did you could tell that she was working with them there, to the choices she made with the camera. Certain choices I didn't like. I'll get into those a little bit later in the visual section that I'm going to be breaking down to in a minute. But overall, the directing, fantastic job directing this movie. I did just find out there was an article that both her and Gal Gadot are contractually obligated to do a Wonder Woman 2 if the DC Warner Brothers wants to do that. I don't know if they will. They probably will, but it'll probably be in early 2020s. But so that's something to look forward to. But besides that, sticking with this movie, great directing. Moving on from directing, we're going to be focusing on acting. Now, the acting in this movie overall is good. Okay, you've got the standout for me is Chris Pine. Chris Pine in this movie did a fantastic job. I think he did. He was the main, second main character. I would say pretty easily the second main character. So I think he did the best job out of the supporting characters. Just his chemistry with Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, was very good. That was probably the best. What made the movie really work was those two had great chemistry together. Their back and forth stuff, the bath scene, the boat scene, the dancing scene, all well done. That is both on the actors themselves and on Patty Jenkins. So that, well done there. But I mean, he also convinced me he was a badass. So yeah, so he's not nearly as badass as Wonder Woman, but still, he did a fantastic job. Moving on, and Topi, I believe that's her name. Something like that. Played by, oh my God. Okay, I apologize. The person from House of Chords. I'm sorry, but I just forgot about that. I mean, and then so she did a good job doing what she had to do. She didn't have a lot of screen time, but she died. So spoiler warning. She dies early in the movie, right after the battle sequence. She did a good job. Her mother, Hippolyta, she did a good job. She did an even better job, I think, than and whatever and Topi. Good. All the supporting cast did a great job. Moving on from even them, you've got the team they go with. I thought all of those guys did a good job. Even I've seen the main two in the in other movies before, but I'd never seen the chief. He did a good job for what he had to do. He didn't have to have much screen time. But the focus of this movie, of course, is on Wonder Woman. So that's why I'm going to focus on my character, or my acting section is going to be mostly about Wonder Woman. And I thought Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, did a good job. Okay, she didn't do a great job. She didn't add much to the movie, but she didn't take away from the movie as much as I thought she would. She did take it away in a couple of scenes. My biggest scene was she took it away, at least when I was watching the movie. I've seen the movie 3 times. So when was the scene when she said goodbye to her mother. At the beginning of that scene, I thought towards the end of that scene she did a better job, but at the beginning of that scene, I thought she was a little bit stiff. But overall, compared to her Batman vs. Superman stuff, which most of her lines, her 8 lines, was wooden. So that was definitely not the case in this movie. Most of her lines were delivered correctly. She is still wooden. She's still not... I think if they had someone not as Chris Pine's caliber in there, she would have looked weaker. I think Chris Pine really helped her out, Patty Jenkins. So overall, she didn't detract from the movie, but she didn't add too much to it. But as a character itself, she did a fantastic job. The physicality, all that stuff, good job. Let's see here. Pardon me, I'm just looking up my notes. Sorry. Okay, so now we're going to get into an okay part of this movie, and that would be the visuals. Okay, now the visuals for this movie are good. They're okay to good, okay? I wish they would have cut down a little bit on the slow motion action scenes and gone for more of the not slow motion action scenes, because every single action moment of this movie has a slow motion part in it. Every single fight. Every one. The biggest ones are going to be in the beginning battle, the invasion on the Themyscira, and I'm going to call it the warehouse scene. I know it's not the Batman warehouse scene, but the scene from that. You know, the one where she's in the building. Both of those. My favorite fighting scene of this entire movie, actually, sounds kind of strange. It's when her and Steve are fighting outside with the lasso. I thought that was actually probably the best action. That whole scene. As soon as she climbs the ladder, that whole scene's my favorite scene of the movie. Easily. That's easily going to be my favorite. That until she destroys the clock tower. That's going to be my favorite scene in the movie. It's a great scene. The most action by far of the movie, and it's just a good scene. But more gripes with the visuals was the CGI in this movie. Some of the CGI in this movie was not very good. Several instances when they swapped the actors for the CGI actors themselves, when they switched the actual actors and replaced them with CGI versions of themselves, it stood out. Two big times this happened. Hippolyta jumping over the horse, clearly CGI, and Wonder Woman jumping into that building. Not out of it, into that building. Both of them completely CGI. It took me actually out of the movie seeing that. I know it's not their intention. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. Okay. I'm getting a lot of my negatives of this movie. These are a lot of my negatives of this movie. My biggest negative, it's a nitpick, but it's a big negative that'll be down the road. Visuals, good, okay, not great. Also, in the battle scenes, I know it's supposed to be cheesy, but sometimes when Wonder Woman's doing this stuff, it does get a little bit repetitive and it does get a little bit cheesy. But that's going to be my visuals. I did think the visuals at the end fight of the movie, I do have negatives about the end fight, but I thought the visuals of the end fight were pretty good. So I have no really positives and negatives about that. I thought they were good. They were fine. I'm talking about the end fight with Ares. So, moving on now. Soundtrack, good. I mean, soundtrack is the soundtrack. It's really good. From the Wonder Woman theme, it's the one from Batman vs Superman, was my least favorite theme from that movie. I even like Lex Luthor's more than hers. But in this movie, it kind of fit more. It is played less. Like, there's an other score which is played more than that. That scene is only, that music is only played a couple times. One is the warehouse fight scene. Another is towards the end of the movie. And then it's the end credit scene as well. Which I thought was kind of funny about this movie is that at the very end, very end of the movie, the end credit scene, not end credit scene, that beginning of the credits, it's like, it's more of a Marvel movie. For the DC movies before now, well, I guess actually Suicide Squad did it, so never mind. Forget what I just said. But it's different than the others. Then I guess they split 2 and 2. But I mean, the music is good. It's really good. So we're gonna stop there. Okay. Now we're gonna move on to more of my positives and negatives. Now that we're getting out of the sections of the movie. So we'll start with my negatives. Okay. Most people start with their positives. I'm gonna start with my negatives. Visuals, negative. Too much slow-mo, negative. Too much, but not way too much. A little bit too much. I mean, another negative is that the end fight scene, they spend a lot of time away from each other, and only one tiny part of that fight scene close to each other, and I thought that was the best part. Part they're on the rooftop, and they're actually, like, close to one another, I liked. That was the best part of that actual scene. That whole scene, it's a good fight scene. It's a good fight scene. It's not amazing. It was a little bit underwhelming. And it's kind of a bit annoying. You had no idea what Ares could actually do. Another negative about this, you don't know what Ares can do. At the beginning of that fight scene, you're just like, well, he can do whatever, and Diana's just gonna get her ass kicked. And she did. For most of that fight, it seemed like she had no business fighting Ares. Ares as a whole was an okay character. He was an okay bad guy. He wasn't great. You have Ares to use in a movie. He should have been better. He wasn't fleshed out enough. What I would have done is, if I was in control of this movie, is I would have actually had the Ares reveal sooner and have them be split apart. and then, like, because it all hits you at once. So if you had it spread out a little more, if like the Ares reveal like that's Ares, and then something happens, and then they leave each other, him and Diana, I mean, that would be that I would have preferred that, because then you could have actually added more. But slight negative. Okay. End fight scene, okay. Visuals, okay. My biggest negative about this movie, and it's not really a negative, whatever, but is, okay. We know it's a movie, we know you have to do, there's coincidences, okay? But was the dress. So this is a very small negative in the scope of the movie, but it's kind of driving me nuts, okay? So, when Wonder Woman goes in to the gala, like, her dress goes down to, like, here, okay? And she's supposed to have her Wonder Woman outfit on underneath, which is clearly she does, because when she's on horseback and she takes this dress off, she has her Wonder Woman stuff on. The Wonder Woman the eagle head goes up to, like, here. How? Really? I mean, it's a small negative, but really? You're actually gonna... Whatever. I mean, it did drive me. The more, if you've seen the movie, you see it again, you'll know, you probably noticed it seeing it for the first time, but if you've seen it once and you noticed it, you'll notice it a lot more if you know about it. Again, very small in the scope of the overall movie, but still, it drove me nuts. Okay. Positives. Script. Very strong script. Acting. Great. Great character building in this movie. In terms of a Wonder Woman character, great job. In terms of Chris Pine and her characters coming together, great job. I mean, you start off with her whole life she has been told that Ares is bad. You stop Ares, you stop the war. Once she finds out there is a war, she's like, okay, this is Ares, blah, 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 blah. And then she kills Ares, the first Ares, and it doesn't stop. And then her whole kind of thing changes. But the reason she's able to then change when she's holding the tank, right, is because of the things that have happened to her with Steve Trevor. I thought that was great. Well, very well done. High praise there. Great character development. Is this a perfect movie? No. Do not get me wrong. Wonder Woman is not a perfect movie. Okay? My overall score puts it in the great range. Okay? But it is not it's not The Dark Knight. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way right now. This is not The Dark Knight. Is it the best DC Cinematic Universe from Man of Steel to now? Is it the best one? Okay, if you're watching this and you disagree with this, I am sorry, and just, yeah, but I don't think so. No. It is the best, it is definitely the best theatrical version of the DC, in the DC Cinematic Universe. That is true. It's better than Man of Steel theatrical. It's better than BVS theatrical. And it's definitely better than Suicide Squad theatrical. But I still believe that Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition is a tiny bit better. That one has more negatives in it. I'm not going to say that movie doesn't. The third act of that movie is a mess. But the first two acts of that movie is so much better than the theatrical version. I still think that is. Don't get me wrong. This is a great movie. Wonder Woman is a great movie. Great screenplay, great directing, pretty damn good acting, good action scenes, a fantastic scene. The battlefield scene in this movie is fantastic. Yes, cheesy, but it is a fantastic scene of this movie. So, I mean, overall, I go 1 out of 100. I would never give a movie like anything probably less than a 15, but this movie is an 83 for me, so that means it's great. 83 out of 100 for me. Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition would be an 85, 86. Maybe a little bit higher. This might get higher. I've seen this movie 3 times. It might get a little bit higher. I watched Batman vs Superman. Okay, Ultimate Edition. I got in a vehicle. I drove and I waited for 4.5 hours and I saw this movie. So I saw them very close to one another. If you can see this movie in IMAX 3D, do, because it is a great movie to see in IMAX 3D. It does add to it. It does not draw away from it. It adds to it. So do it if you can. These posters, I'm sorry, the Mio thing. These posters right here are because I did see the movie in IMAX 3D. So you might get them if you do see them in IMAX 3D. You might not. The other poster I got from the fan screening. So I do have 3 posters right now. I am also getting the big giant Wonder Woman IMAX poster that our theater has. That's in the IMAX display. And I might actually do a video on that. So I'm wondering, I have a ton of IMAX posters, and I'm wondering if I should do a couple videos on those. So I might not. We're gonna have to wait and see. Overall, this movie's great. See it. It is a fantastic movie. It's just good. So yeah, MVP Reviews gives this movie an 83 out of 100. The strongest parts of this movie, I've said them many times already. You know what they are. Go see this movie. It's a great movie. So, this has been the MVP Reviews for the DC cinematic movie Wonder Woman. And peace, guys. Please subscribe and like.